Live. It's been a minute. There we go. There we go. Man, the things you don't see until the camera goes on, huh? The hair going like this little thing right here. It's all good. It's all good. Gravity. That's all it is. So, good morning. Good morning. Hey, good morning from my last missive actually for the next couple of days. But my last broadcast, I guess you could call it, in Heather MC. Yo, there we go. See, this is so much better. So much better when I can see the comments bigger than my face, because I'll just deconstruct this. So good morning, Louise, and good morning, Heather and Laura. So yeah, this is my last official broadcast from Palm Springs. I've got some coaching to do today, but then tomorrow is an entire day of traveling. I went to a party yesterday. You guys, you know how I talk about expanding your comfort zone? Man, did I expand my comfort zone yesterday. But stretching can get, so it was great. I was proud of myself. It did take a toll. It did empty the energy out of my social battery. So I am very excited to have the day to myself, with the exception of the bird who's going tit 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 tit, and the kitty who's going meow, and the wind that's going whoosh. So good morning, and good morning, Cheryl and Michelle, and Cheryl with a C and Cheryl with an S. Nice to meet you, or to see you rather. So it's Monday. It is the last Monday of April, and May is going to be here on Thursday. Crazy stuff, huh? Okay. Hey, this is really cool. Update from the Voorhees house. Laura says, if you recall, Laura's daughter and her boyfriend were coming to visit, and Laura was, kind of wanting to make sure to make a nice impression, to not have to worry about. See, this is the great thing about having a decluttered house and having things in the places that you want them to, and all that kind of stuff, is feeling good and being present when your guests are there, so you're not distracted by, oh man, that's stuff's all over the place. Oh, I hope they don't go into that bathroom, that type of thing. So Laura gives an update. I worked hard last week, and yes, decluttering can be hard, but you work hard for decluttering and you get results. I worked hard last week to get the house clean and tidied. And it felt so good. That's me, like doing all caps, a verbal all caps. It felt so good to be able to focus on my daughter and her boyfriend visiting and not worry about the house. So yay, Laura, congratulations. I know that you were concerned about, the house, you feeling good about how the house looked and functioned and felt when your daughter and her boyfriend arrived. So the fact that you were feeling good about it. Notice, when you do that, decluttering equals not worrying. Decluttering equals a home where you're not worried about the house. Decluttering equals feeling so good. Decluttering equals focusing on what's truly important, which are, the people and experiences in your life, and not getting distracted by things that aren't. So I love that, Laura. And the neat thing is oftentimes when we do this, your house is probably more tidied or more easily tidied. Even if you had people staying over, you may have the detritus of people who are staying over and stuff like that. But you are now ahead of the game for a home that, to me, is even better than when people come to visit, but that you live in a daily basis. In that a house where you don't have to worry, where you can feel good, where you can focus, and that's all about you. So yay, Laura, excuse me. Kat Roby is in the house. Kat is also checking in. An update from the Kat Roby camp. Hey, yo. She liked the live. I see 3 likes and 14 people. I never pressured you, but I suggest this could be even a low level expanding your nervous system / skill set. There's a 4th. Do you know how to give a thumbs up to the live? If you don't, You could ask here how to do it. I don't know how to do it myself because of just the way that this is set up. But if that's something you want to do, feel free to go do it. And you practice it. Kat Roby does that. She says she liked the live. And then she has her scheduled best blinders. See, Louisa's getting good at it. And she's using that green check mark box, which I love to see. One is she's got the dry the laundry. 2, file the mail. 3, go through inboxes and assign tasks. And 4, plan mailing packages. Now, I don't know why I'm getting this like Schoolhouse Rock vibe here, but notice each one of Kat Roby's things on her scheduled Beth Blinders list includes a very special kind of word. Oh my God, now I sound like I'm being like romper room. Notice everything she wrote contains a verb. Verb is action. Verb, that's what's happening. Remember? And actions are typically done up here, but also with your hands. Taking the laundry. Oh, I just realized my getting all goofy here. Noticing you would take the laundry probably from the washer to the dryer, filing the mail, going through the inboxes, assigning tasks, planning the mail packages and writing them down. Yeah, verb is the word. If you don't have it, notice the difference between a list, and notice it's even a list versus a list of things to do, to verb. To verb, what is that? I remember not even realizing there was a verb to do until I started taking Spanish. Yeah. So there you go. And please, everybody, if you've got a bad feeling, if you've got some anxiety, shake it off. Shake it off. Seriously, let it go. Take a shower. Put on some music. Put it behind you. Make it small. Black and whiten it. Grainy it. Turn down the volume. Distance yourself from the high anxiety from yesterday with your dad and stuff. But notice that the difference between a list and a list of things to do. Kat Roby's list without the sorry, somebody's crying in the background, just the cat. Kat Roby's list without the verbs would be laundry, mail, inbox, mailing, right? Vague, and there's nothing there to encourage action. Add a verb to your to-do list today, to you, things to do, actions to take. And those actions result in a forward motion, ideally, towards a destination you want. Think about the forward motion. When Kat Roby dries her laundry, she's got destination dry laundry, not wet and moldy in the washing machine. Notice when she files the mail, the filing allows her to live in an organized place where she knows where her mail is. What else? Going through the inbox. Now, going through is sorting, is categorizing, is taking inventory, seeing what you have. Going through the inbox. Yeah, sorting through the things that have accumulated in your inbox. And assigning. Assigning is a verb. Assigning tasks. Saying, I need to respond to this email, find that information, unsubscribe. Planning on mailing packages. Now, planning starts up here, but man, it can be made easier. I swear, I always think better with a pen in my hand because then I don't have the fear of forgetting. Anybody else here have the fear of forgetting? That's one of the reasons I highly recommend writing stuff down. Okay. But yeah, so think about your list today. Actually, you know what's funny? I'm going to check mine right now. Okay. These are the verbs I have in town. Visit, email, vacuum, purchase, see, visit, do, charge up, go to bed early. So yeah, if your list doesn't have any verbs on it, consider adding a verb today. This brought to you by the National Verb Department. Verb, that's what's happening. So that's a lesson for today. Notice the words that you choose. I got to say, you guys, that every time I do a live, and it's not like I can be like, oh, that's wrong, I have to shut it off. So I have to run what I'm about to say through my head and my heart every day when I show up for one of these YouTube lives. And yeah, take it to the curb, says Ello. That's a verb. Take it to the curb. Take your stuff you don't want to the curb. It can either be there for trash or, please, for the love of God, if you have something that you want to give away for free, tape a free sign to it so it's not ambiguous. What was I saying? I love the fact that I show up for an hour every day that I do a live, sometimes two hours if I do a TikTok live. Oh, speaking of which, I have updated the secret page, as I like to call it. So there are more YouTube lives scheduled. There are a couple of TikTok lives actually scheduled, and the declutter parties for May start this weekend. Okay, so take a look at that when you get a chance. I haven't sent out an email for it, but guess what? You guys are the first ones here, so you know it. Now, the reason I bring this up is because I love that every time I go back to some of the kind of the core, the basic, destination decluttered 101s, that they still hold up upon scrutiny. And some of the really simple yet bedrock, foundational things. One is noticing how you feel physically. Notice how you feel. I like to call it kind of energetically. So it's not just your mental state, it's not just your physical state, it's the energy that is in your it is that is running through your nervous system. So your nervous system. So how are you feeling? If you're not feeling good, if you're feeling the residual anxiety of the weekend, maybe an anxiety hangover, if you're tired because you didn't get enough sleep, notice that when you do things to make yourself feel better physically and energetically, everything else is easier when you are feeling better in both of those realms, both your physical body. And I know this myself from getting random headaches for random reasons and doing things to feel better. Then I can focus, then I can feel good, then I can be present, you know? And so I just offer to you checking in with yourself physically, checking in with yourself energetically. And here's a fun thing. I used to do this kind of sassily and unconsciously, but maybe you do this yourself. So I would wake up in the morning and I'd be puttering around, and my husband would be like, "So, how you doing today?" And I remember a number of times saying to him, "You know what?" And this was way before I did any coaching or anything. I said, "I haven't decided yet. I haven't decided how I wanted to feel." And I realized even subconsciously at that time that I could choose how I felt. Sure, I could focus on things that weren't well. Like, this is crazy to me to be in my happy place and still find things that kind of irk me. It means that we're human and I'm not in a real place, that there's good intermixed with the bad. If I continually focus on the stuff that that bugs me, it's going to get clearer, sharper, more real, bigger, colorful, more present. I am creating like a file with that info in it. Or I can choose other things to be focused on. How awesome the sun looks on those green trees out there. The fact that the sky is blue. The fact that there's only a little bit of breeze going through the palm tree fronds. The realization that today is my last day in town. I'm going to make the best of it. You can choose. Your choices have a consequence. Choosing to focus on the good will make you look for it, will make you find it, will help you make it happen. Choosing to focus, and I notice I don't say acknowledge all of it, but where you choose to focus is, I don't want to sound like a self-help book. It's what you create more of. So focus on the good. You can do that with your eyes. You can do it with your words in your head, and you can do it with the words that you write down. Now, getting back to some of even just the words you use, notice how the inclusion of one word, free, on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper that you tape onto an item that you're getting rid of, gives clarity and specificity. It keeps people out of ambiguity. Laura says, I agree. When you have stuff that you don't want and you decide to take it to the curb, Sometimes if there's no sign on it, there's ambiguity. There's no verb. You could even say free and then add a verb. Take me, free, right? Um, Laura says people put things at the end of their driveway, and who knows if the kids left it there, or it's for a giveaway, or it's there because somebody's going to pick it up. And that ambiguity may keep the stuff that you don't want in your life longer. Ambiguity. Being clear about it to other people means, yes, I'm ready to let this go, and I'm attaching this word to it. So notice that about your stuff. Can you be more clear in your choice of words? Probably. Now, this is interesting. Heather MC, Heather MC. I crack myself up every time I say that. And is asking, have you enjoyed your trip? And the answer is yes. The answer is 100% yes. And the thing that I think about, and I was writing this down yesterday, there are things that have bugged me on this trip. I would not be a human. I would not be real if I didn't say that there were some things that bugged me. But I am really working on not focusing on those. I am really trying hard not to lead with those. I have acknowledged them, and I've noticed that about myself, and I'm learning. This is the thing I want to share with you. I am learning what's important to me by what is disturbing my peace, what is getting me in a state of anxiety, for example. So 3 things. I'll just share them with you so you can see where I'm coming from. Things that have impacted my enjoyment. First of all, let's talk about the good stuff that I've enjoyed. This weather, my God, I mean, the skies are blue, the sun is out, and so are you. The architecture. I have met such nice people here. There have been opportunities to do really fun, interesting, wonderful things that resonate with me. I mean, I feel like I will share this with you. When my husband and I decided 20 plus years ago to move to the town that we live in PA, I kept on feeling there was something that drew me there. There was something like a magnet underneath it that drew me there. And same thing with Palm Springs. And I realized I'm doing kind of the same things that I did then. I'm driving around to different neighborhoods and parking the car and walking around and absorbing the vibe and kind of, kind of embodying it, not imbibing it. I have imbibed a wee bit. So there are so many wonderful things, but there have been a few things that have irked me. So the neat thing is I'm learning from that. Oh, interesting. Sinatra in Palm Springs. I'll have to check that out. Yeah. And the things that have bugged me, I've realized are things that have to do with my audio. There has been a poor little bird, and I feel bad for it because I don't know why it's tap, tap, tapping. I ask it, and I ask the universe, and I trust that if there's a message I'm supposed to receive, that I'll help. I've gone out multiple times to go follow it to see if Timmy fell in the well. The crying of the kitty. Now, sometimes I'm afraid, notice I'm afraid that I'm missing something. Is she trying to send me a message? We can't communicate. I think she just wants to talk. And then honestly, some of you may know this if you've been to Palm Springs, but there are neighborhoods that are a lot more windy than others. And I knew that up here, but it's different when you feel it, when you are feeling the wind on your skin, when you notice that it could be a 5 to 10 degree difference in how it feels temperature wise when you're in different areas of town. Now, the things that I've learned about myself, the things that have bugged me, I choose to not let them totally bug me. I say, what can I learn from this? What can I learn about myself from this? And the funny thing is the bird is tapping. I don't know if you can hear it. It's like one of those things, if you guys are on TikTok and they've got the person who has like the little pointy finger on a pen or a thing and it goes like, that's how I feel. So the rapidity with which it is tapping, I'm like, are you mad at me? Did I do something? Is something wrong? Should I know what to do and I don't know? So there's a bit of tension, So I notice I like it quieter. I really like quiet. I really like it when it's not as windy. Now, a breeze, yeah, but gusts of wind up to 35 miles an hour, not so much. So I'm learning this so the next time I stay here, that if I'm renting a place, I will choose to rent a place in the less windy parts. I will honestly, this may sound, I am learning that much like taking care of kids, because I did it for years of my life, and cats and dogs and whatnot, I choose not to have pets who would then cry at me and demand their things. So I'm learning about myself from the things that I realize are throwing my kind of balance off. Okay. So I share this with you as a total transparent human in what is allegedly the epicenter of my happy place. And so many other things are going well too. So what I suggest to you is this: perfection is unattainable. You can be in Palm Springs and it can rain. You can be in Palm Springs and there's a kitty who, is, I don't know, doing stinky poops and putting cat litter all over the place. That is okay. You can choose to focus on the bad, and man, you're going to find it. But focusing on the good helps you create more of it. But please, when you're focusing on the bad, learn from it so you can minimize it. Now, I can eliminate temporarily the cat poops in the thing. There's going to be more of them. But here's a great and kind of gross analogy for decluttering. You know the difference. If you have an animal and you let their poops pile up, right? But if you get in the habit of cleaning up their poops a little bit at a time, not only are there not big piles of poop to clean up, but it's less smelly in between the times that they're doing the poops because there's no poops around them. So think about that with the notion of decluttering. A little bit at a time often is so much better than a whole bunch of nothing and then making up for it. A whole bunch of nothing and the poops pile up. Okay? Oh, you know? Now, Wendy LCM says focusing on the bad is okay for a tiny time, but living there is a recipe for depression. 100%. Focus on that by saying, what can I learn from this? What can I learn from this? And sometimes the things you learn are things that you know already, but that, it can't hurt to be reminded of. Focusing on the fact that, notice when I show up on these things and I see myself the way my computer is constructed and the way the sun is coming up, I never really noticed that I've got like these kind of lines because they weren't here before my body decided to start to go to menopause, before the estrogen, before the crash, before the crash of, where, what do you call it? Gravity really was like, aha, I'll take over. None of this keeping stuff up. We're going to bring it down. I can choose to focus on that, or I can say, okay, if that really bugs me, do something about it. But if not, just, make the lighting better. Don't look in the mirror as often. Tell yourself nicer stories when you see it. You guys would be amazed at the accordion file of wrinkles that I have when I smile. They are so grooved in there. It's like somebody plowing a field, But I choose to look at my wrinkles and say that's evidence of me expressing myself in using my face. That is me smiling. See? Right? I'm cool with that. There's really nothing I can do about it. And if I did, I'd end up looking like some weird robot. Right? Yeah. Ooh, Wendy, and you're so right about like the letting the animal poop pile up. Because think about animal poop. This is gross. I know, but we all know what poop is. Poop is something that the human body and the animal body say, we're going to take some nutrients and we don't want the rest. That is your body's version of decluttering. Saying thank you to the stuff that's going to help you and no thank you to the stuff that will not help you, that will just take up space. You know the discomfort when you need to poop and it's been a while. Your house is probably feeling that kind of bloated way too. When you are able to get things moving, now I won't get too graphic, but we all know what it is. Less smell and less bugs. The more that you relieve yourself of stuff that you don't need and you flush it away or you throw it away or you get it further away from you, the amount of flies will be less. There will be a nicer smell in your house, Yeah. Now, Louise says, my mom used to say, father, time, and gravity are not your friends as we age. You're right. You're right. But we can make friends with them. We can think of them as the enemy, or we can make friends with them. And you know how we do that is the words in our head that cause us to feel a feeling. Me saying, it's okay that my aging, getting close to death human body is changing. This is what happens to every single body on the planet, including those ones that look delightfully youthful right now. If they are lucky enough, they will age. And when they age, they also have no control over wrinkles and menopause and things like that. Now, are there more things that we can do about that stuff externally, internally, drugs and surgeries now than ever before? Yeah, but there's only so much you can do. So learning to love yourself, even when you don't look like the commercialized, idealized version of it, knowing that you're worthy of love has very little to do, should have very little to do with how you look, and it should be about how you feel and how you act with yourself and other people. Yeah. And Kat Roby says, we don't have to believe that aging is ugly. Think of how many products you and I buy. No, I'm trying to keep a minimum of it. Think of how many products there are in the market that promise youth, that promise to erase your wrinkles, to make your skin feel like it did when you were younger. Man, people are making money hand over fist from our fear of aging. I choose to be a wise, and maybe wizened, I don't care, a wise person. And if my face shows the years, so be it. I've earned these wrinkles by smiling, by crying, by emoting. And it's also just the luck of the draw. It really is. My people, we have tissue paper white skin from Ireland. We don't have that really thick skin that you can be 80 years old and nary a wrinkle because of just the random way in which the cells in your body are arranged. Luck of the draw. Yeah. Um yes. You can choose to believe. I choose to believe that. I am making a choice to believe, which is words in your head that you say are true. I choose to believe that aging is not ugly, that aging is gorgeous and wise. And I think out of more times than ever in our lives, we are lucky to live in a time where this is so much more easy to get that word out. That the only word on the street is not the people who are selling who are making money off of our fears of aging. Now, Laura says, I'm trying to get okay with my silvery hairs. I'm trying to think of them as the sugar in my cinnamon. I love that. I love that. So I have right here, I was hoping, frankly, to go like I have some friends who went all silver. It looks great. I get these kind of distinguished things on my temples, and I am way overdue for a haircut. It's hysterical and I still don't go for another week. I'm going to be there like it's going to be like crazy. But I see these and I love my white hairs. I see that they're coming in a slightly different texture, kind of a wee bit curlier. And it reminds me of my grandmother whose whole head was like that, you know? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love it. Oh, hey, that's really cool. So Wendy says I stopped coloring my hair back in 2019. Yeah, I used to cut color. Crazy thing is long before I had any grays, I colored my hair because it was like a boring brown. And then at some point, I don't know when it was, I was like, hey, wait a minute. This is my natural color. I kind of like that. I mean, this was definitely after my punk rock, purple and red. And, what was that stuff we used to use in the box? I can't remember, but like the temporary hair colors and things like that. But loving who you are, being cool with the color of your hair, being psyched that you even have hair, you know? And I love this. Kat Roby says, and I love this, in a poem she wrote in her 20s, she thought of wrinkles as the roadmaps to my memories. Yeah. And you know me, I mean, I used to my empire was retro roadmap. My whole premise of decluttering is you are here and you want to go there, and the journey, the roadmap is the visual to you going from where you were to where you are now and where you want to be. So what a cool idea. And notice what we're doing. I just kind of want to peel away the layers because this is true. This goes back to the notion of the words in your head. A word, a word, a word, a word, a word equals a sentence. What sentences, what combinations of words do you have in your head And notice, depending upon which one you pull down from your head and choose to listen to, it's up here, then it goes to here. Sometimes you speak it, but how does it make you feel? How does it make you feel? So, Joanne, good morning. I missed the first half hour. My goodness, you're right. It's already been a half an hour. We've been talking about the words in our head, how we feel, adding verbs to our to-do list, being okay with aging, and noticing that even in the most perfect of circumstances, nothing is ever perfect. So embrace the imperfections. Embrace the imperfections of what it means to be a human on this planet. And as that old saying goes, God grant me the serenity to kind of know the difference between what I can change and what I can't change. Change the things I can change, but also know where I may not. Like, I am doing the best to change this poor little birdie who's tapping on the glass, who's been doing it for a week. I can't change it, so I have to change how I feel about it. Yeah, you've always got words in your head. Good. I hope they are good words. What's a good word? What's the good word? What's the word? Hummingbird. What's this tail? Nightingale. Have you heard about Hugo and Kim? Hi, Nancy. Hi, Ursula. What's the story? Morning glory. What's the word? Hummingbird. I think I just scared the bird away with my bye-bye bird. Oh, I said bye-bye birdie. Get it? Waka waka. So notice, if you always have words in your head, I love that. Can you imagine? Sometimes it's nice to not have words in your head, to just be like, ah. But when you have words in your head, what basket do you put them in? Are they fearful words or are they loving words? Are they encouraging words or discouraging words? Are they hateful words or are they loving words? Are they curious or are they judgment? Notice. Yeah. And this is the way I notice. I don't know, so I write them down. And sometimes there is a combo, which is good. This is why I say to my clients, get a piece of paper, fold it in half. On one side, write down what I call your backseat driver words, the ones that say, you've always been cluttered. You grew up in a cluttered home. You cannot change. That's a big one. That's a big one that's behind a lot of backseat drivers. Don't do that thing that's going to change the way things are. Because we are familiar. This may not work the best, but we are more familiar with what's going on now in all its imperfections. But change is unknown. Change could be worse. And that's the backseat driver always thinks that change is going to be bad or worse. You forget that change can be awesome. Change can be better. So changing the words in your mouth, in your head, exchanging them, saying, no, I don't want these words. I would prefer to have these. It's an even exchange. It's actually a better exchange. It's a better exchange. You get more value from the more helpful, loving, curious, patient, kind words. You get so much more mileage out of those than you do the unhelpful, discouraging, fearful backseat driver words. So if you were to go to Kohl's and exchange it, it'd be like, here, these are my $10 words. You would get back $20 words worth of words if you choose to exchange your unhelpful words for helpful ones. So imagine yourself there at the place where you do the returns. No thanks. I know I don't have the receipt. I've had these words for decades. There's no expiration and you don't need a receipt. All you have to do is willing to kind of gather up those words in a bag, hand them over, and then they'll say, okay, well, we need you to just find the opposites to all these words. So we're going to find the opposite. And for every sentence you give us, we're going to give you back an opposite, better feeling sentence to negate that unhelpful one. And then you can carry that with you. And a lot of how you do this, seriously, you can try to do it like math in your head, but when things get too difficult, it makes it so much easier. Difficult, easy. Make it easier on yourself. Make this whole process easier on yourself by writing shit down, by getting things down from your head, down, written down onto paper. And this isn't just your lists of things to do. If you want to change yourself, you need to see what words are in your head, because the words in your head either are the things that allow you to move forward, or they're the ones that pull you back and say not move forward. And so sometimes you don't know the words that are in your head because they're happening kind of at the same time. It's like a party up there. It's a party. So think about that and just tune in to listen to what you're thinking, and notice how when you listen to what you're thinking really does have an impact on how you're feeling. And your thinking and your feeling 100% equals what you do in the world with your hands. Your head plus your heart equals what you do with your hands. Thinking, limiting beliefs. I rarely use that because that's such a what do you call it? Like a life coachy thing. Limiting beliefs. You are limiting your belief in the possibility versus unlimited beliefs. Anything. There are no limits to the wonders I could do in the world. Now, I say this life coachy, but the great thing is, boom, I love shit that scales. I love stuff that is repeatable. You can scale it down to decluttering. You can choose to have a limiting thought to say, I have been this way. What do they call that? A fixed mindset versus growth mindset. My family was that way. I've been this way. I will always be this way. I cannot change. If you choose to believe that, you will not change. I've always been cluttered. I was cluttered in the past. I'm cluttered today. Ergo, will be cluttered in the future. And I call bullshit on that. I am from the other side. I'm from the other side where I say, you may have grown up in a cluttered environment. You may have created a cluttered environment yourself. However, that does not mean that you cannot change it and be less cluttered in the future. So notice, fixed mindset. This is how it is. You can change it. And believing in change is what is going to really change the history of yourself on this planet. And notice right now in the national news, there is literally a war going on for people saying, I want to change things this way for these people, and other people saying, I want to change it this way for these people, and showing up for what you believe in. Now, again, that's on the national scale, but the national thing, but it still applies. You can scale it down to say to yourself at an individual level, I have a choice. I have a choice of when I come home to dump my stuff on the table and leave it there. I have a choice of how long I decide to leave it there. I have a choice to feel bad about something and not do anything about it. Or I have a choice of have something I don't like and figuring out what I can do about it, no matter how small. That's a fun idea. So LO says, shifting gears a little bit here in my, what do you call it? Standard shift car that I often, because you can't, shifting gears. I'm using an electric car now, and it's like shifting gears like this. So I pretend like I'm hand on the gear shift. Anyhow, LO is talking about habit tracker. So mine is pretty, look at this is me in Palm Springs. And also look, very few days left in the month. I typically do mine on the month, but you don't need to. That's why I make it blank up here for all the dates. So you could start one today because it's a Monday. Have you been doing it? If you haven't, just start again today. Put, what is it? Monday the 28th there. I got to figure out mine from yesterday. But LO says, I'm using the habit tracker sheet, the upper left corner for beginning of the month aspirations. Yep. And then the bottom lower left corner for end of month reflection. Yeah. Aspiration, forward thinking, looking ahead, and then reflection, getting to where you are now and looking back and noticing how things went. How did you get from where you were to where you are? Now, again, life coaching, but also decluttering. At the beginning of the month, what did your house look like? Did you show up and do things a little bit at a time? You know? Did you take pictures? You could even do that. I love that, taking a picture. Because here's the deal with me. When I leave here today, I took some pictures at the beginning of my stay here because I was showing them
I wanted to have a record of, oh my gosh, this is where I stayed, because I will have a memory of this trip for the rest of my life. That time that I lived, I legitimately am living a dream right now. Living in Palm Springs, not just visiting, but living here like a local, with a kitchen, with a bathroom, with, got to put out the trash cans, got to clean out the cat box. Living in a mid-century modern home in Palm Springs when it's cold at home. Ah. Now, did I expect it to come about this way? No, but I planted seeds. Do I enjoy it? Yeah, want to do it more. But I offer this to you to say, how did I get here? If I want more things like this to happen, what did I do then to make this happen? But on the flip side, if you're looking back and saying, oh, stuff's still the same, what did you do to keep it the same? Did you do anything to change it? I hope so. I hope you know from hanging out with me that you have the ability to change what you don't like. That if you can't change it 100%, and it might be a little bit, of a struggle. I mean, this is why I, as a coach, readily am showing you my habit tracker, because there are some things I struggle with. This week, crazily enough, and I pretty much know why, I know that even though I've been out here in the desert, I have not drunk as much water as I do when I'm at home. Okay. Now I have gotten better at it. Every day I fill up my water bottle and I remind myself of it. But I know one of the reasons why I haven't is because I got to find a place to pee. Sometimes I got to pee wicked bad. Also, I don't get thirsty a lot. I can be kind of desiccated for a bit, but I have to remind myself. So for the rest of my life, I may need to use a habit tracker. That's okay. It is merely a tool in my toolkit to help me do the things I want to do. So you have tools in your toolkit that you can use. They may have dust on them because you haven't used them in a while. You may have forgotten you had them because you've had your toolkit closed. You should open up your toolbox on a daily basis. Take inventory. Remind yourself of the things you have available to you to make what you need to do easier. And for me, it's literally 3 things. Okay. It would be my notebook workbook, my spiral bound, messy stuff, right? So this thing helps me get my thoughts down on paper. This one piece of paper, and I could do this all digitally, but I'm Gen X and I like how paper kind of slows down and makes me more methodical. This helps me show up to do a lot of these things that I know my body will feel better. And then finally, and maybe most importantly, because it's different from anything I ever did, but I've done it for the past 5 years, my good book, my list of good stuff that I have made happen, that has happened to me, my travel memories. I use this as my travel memories because when I travel, it's my days. I don't just keep it separate. Reminding myself already, see, I have all this stuff. Look at all this cool stuff that has happened to me that I made happen. You know what I collect now? I don't collect mid-century stuff unless I really like it. I collect good experiences. Tuesday, October 22nd, I took a shower and I did a walk in the morning. I voted. I dropped off bags to somebody at a vintage store. I did some coaching. Heather, if you're still here, we coached on Tuesday, October 22nd of 2024. I wrote it down because it was a cool thing. So collect the good stuff. Pay no mind to the stuff that doesn't do it for you. Get it out of your house. I went to an antiques mall yesterday, and it legitimately was. It was like a mall that had been transformed into an antiques place. And I saw millions of items that did nothing for me. And that's okay. I didn't say don't like that. It was like, meh, nope, it's not doing it for me. I did not focus on what I didn't like. What I kept in my mind was I kept my mind's eye open for possibility of finding a mate to those salt and pepper shakers that I have. Well, actually, I only have one salt and pepper shaker. So focus on the bad, you're going to find it. Focus on the good, you're going to find it. What little focusy lens are you going to use? Even just today, You can choose right now. Now, to me, I know for most of you on the East Coast, it is 10:46 in the morning. It's only 7:46, so I have 3 extra hours. It's wicked or much wicked. It's not wicked early. I would get up this time at home. But notice I'm choosing to ignore the tapping bird. I just offer to you as a daily reminder, and hopefully you're all nodding in agreement and doing these things, or maybe even today is the day that you decided to try something different, and just write down from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. I've got the stuff that I want to do. I've got some hard and fast things. 10 a.m. Eastern, YouTube Live, yay. I've got some coaching, yay. And then I've got a whole bunch of things with verbs included that it doesn't really matter what time I do it, except I want to get it done before I leave town. So what are some things you want to get done before you leave town permanently? What are some things that you are on your deathbed, you would say, shit, I really wish I had done X. Write those things down and let's work backwards from that. Okay? Okay. So notice that. Notice what you want and what you want to get. Now, Wendy says, I had a list on my whiteboard of tasks I wanted to do. Notice both of those are in the past tense. I had a list of tasks I wanted to do, but I did none of them. But I did get some great items done, so I'm not mad at myself. No, being mad at yourself is a fool's errand. Being mad at yourself doesn't get you anything. It makes you feel bad, and when you're feeling bad, you can't learn. What I would ask for, instead of you being mad at yourself, good, don't be mad at yourself. However, instead of just not being mad at yourself, don't be mad at yourself and feel good at what you did get done. And if I can offer any tool in your toolkit that is going to be so powerful, it is going to be not lack of judgment. Don't be judgy. Don't make yourself feel bad. Do the opposite, which is to get curious. So Wendy, the things you had a list on your whiteboard, you did none of them. I would get curious why you didn't do them, but even more particular, what you're going to do. Notice what I'm doing is chunking it down. Yeah. Chunking it down and asking yourself, why didn't I get that one thing done? Does it have more steps in it than just, do laundry? There's a verb there, but that's pretty vague, but there's a lot of steps in laundry. Did I have enough time to do all the steps to get it done? No. Is there something I could have done to get it started? Maybe. But I get it. I do. Wendy says, before decluttering, I was hard on myself for not getting my tasks done. So so for many of us, letting ourselves off the hook, being kind to ourselves when we don't live up to the expectations we set, helps us heal from the past where other people were mad at us, and then we decided to be mad at ourselves. Yeah. Now, this is interesting too, because you say, and I love this because this is the stuff that I think is fun. Wendy says, other tasks decided to yell louder for attention. The tasks are still on my whiteboard. Now, I get that. Sometimes there are fires to be put out. And if you don't put out a fire, it's going to spread. But notice if your MO is often to be responding to things as if it's a fire to be put out, or because it demanded your attention, and yet you're not getting to the things that are quieter but more important. The things that really could quietly be helping you in the background. Now, as you know, because everybody is seeing this as it falls out in real time, I don't know what the tasks were on Wendy's list. I don't know what the other tasks were that yelled at her to say, don't do that, do this. Only she knows that. But getting curious about that, Okay, like, for example, I love this because this is a perfect example of kind of putting out a fire, but it's like I ended up cleaning my kitchen. Now notice that, because she spilled taco soup on her floor, up in her cupboards, and on the rugs. So notice that that's something that she could say, no, I have this. She could have been very fixed. I made this list on my whiteboard of what I have to do this week. So I have to do it. Yeah, in the meantime, you've got taco soup is going to be like soaking into the carpet and staining things. So notice that there are times where it is 100% appropriate to shift gears and to go in a different direction. It's like taking a detour because like you need to take care of that. So notice how you can here's the deal. I love that concept of structure and flexibility. Maybe that's why I like the architecture out here, because it's responsive to the environment. So you can have a list, you can have some structure, and you can also have flexibility by saying, oh, this thing came up. If I choose to be rigid, see, I don't like rigidity. Don't fence me in. I get really prickly when I feel that. But structure with the ability to be flexible about it. So Wendy, that's great. That's great. I am so glad that you cleaned up the spilled taco soup. And notice, here's a wonderful thing too. Notice once you get started with something, as science says, a body in motion tends to stay in motion. Now, it only slows down when friction is involved. So life is friction. You're going to run out of gas. You're going to run out of steam. But when you get started, notice she could have just cleaned up the soup and stopped. But then she chose to clean up more of her kitchen because, well, I'm here anyway. And why just stop right there? I could expand it. So the neat thing is that Wendy now has a cleaner kitchen than she did last week. Did she think that was that on her bingo card, as people say? No. But yay, bonus points. You've got a clean kitchen. So good stuff. The other thing too, again, though, is just everybody. Look at your list of things to do and chunk it down to the smallest possible chunk since you can. And write down those chunks, because each one of those chunks is a step. Notice, I thought about this the other day. Notice we talk about steps in a process, but think about steps are legitimately what humans take when they put one foot in front of the other, right? A step, and not to like walk like an Egyptian, right? But a step that is comfortable to you is the width of your legs moving back and forth. If you do too many little steps, it's going to be shuffle, 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 shuffle. You can do it. That's fine. But if you try to do too much, if you try to make a leap and your legs are like this, it might be harder for you to do it. So chunk things down. When you chunk things down, each chunk will take less time than the previous chunk. So when you don't have the convenience of saying, I don't have time. Because you could say that literally will take me a minute. So it isn't about the time that's stopping you. It's the friction of doing something different, probably. Now, my nature is, and this may be a surprise to you guys because I come on and very easily and eloquently, I hope, talk to strangers on the internet. Like a million people be showing up, I don't know. Yet in real life, I am so much more of an introvert. I know that this has to do with kind of how I'm wired. Also, frankly, I have a bit of hearing loss. So nowadays I feel like it's like, what'd he say? Like he doesn't want to leave her, but he has to. So when I stretched my nervous system yesterday by going to a party where I barely knew anybody, like literally I knew one person and I had met him for about 20 minutes over a week ago. But I showed up to this party because I wanted to prove to myself I could. I didn't want to shrink back and hide in my comfort zone. I wanted to stretch my comfort zone. And it, much like stretching a muscle, it felt a little bit uncomfortable. But I went chunk by chunk. Yeah. Yes. Clean kitchen. It comes up. So we're talking about chunking things down. I chunked down how I got to the party. I put on clothes I felt comfortable with. I found out where the address was. I saw how long it was going to take me to drive there. I determined when I was going to show up so I wouldn't be fashionably late, fashionably early. Actually, I was later than some people, but you know what? Society. And then here's the funny thing, you guys. Oh, talk about the fight or flight, talking about wanting to fly like nobody's business. I get there, I show up, I ring the bell, nothing. Nothing. As the wind dies down, I could hear that there were people chatting in the other room. So I'm like, okay. Rang the bell again. Part of me wanted to say, yeah, I was going to come, but I didn't, and I scurry away like I would have when I was a little kid. No, I stood there. All is well. I had to ring the bell like 4 times. I even tried the doorknob to say maybe it was something that was, open house. But I said, nope, all is well. Nothing is wrong here. This is just a test of the emergency broadcast system. Sure enough, the door opens up. Somebody says, hello. And I said, hi, I'm Beth. I know Richard. Then Richard was behind him. Hi. Next thing you know, I'm in this wonderful mid-century modern house, meeting a lot of wicked, nice people. But if I had shrunk back and retreated and shrunk my nervous system and shrunk my expanding comfort zone, I would have been at a loss. I wouldn't have met nice people. Who knows in that house who I may meet in the future? Even if I never meet them in the future, I had some really nice conversations with people that reminded me that there are really nice people out here. So notice how I got there, though. I got into that party by chunking it down. The parts where I was like, at every time I could abandon it. I could have abandoned what I wanted to do, but I said, you got this. You got this. You can do this. I know it isn't comfortable, but you're going to feel so much better about yourself having gone to do that. And I literally came home. Was I exhausted? Was my party energy tank at E? Hell yeah. However, I texted my husband and said, I am so proud of myself because I stretched my comfort zone. I went to a party where I didn't know a soul, and I emerged feeling good about it. So Wendy is saying, broken into smaller tasks, it feels like I am making progress. Clean the kitchen becomes unload the dishwasher, load the dishwasher, sweep, wipe down, counter 1, wipe down, counter 2, wipe down, counter 3, refill the soap, swap out the towels. Notice each one of those. How many verbs can you use to play around with what you're going to do today? Mine is going to be within 2 minutes, sign off YouTube. Then it's going to be fill my teacup. It's going to be put on some socks because my feet are a little bit cold. Then it's going to be visit, email, vacuum, walk, see, investigate, buy, charge up car, go to bed. I'm sure I can chunk down those things even further. Eat lunch. So think about the things that are very broadly painted on your list today of things you want to do. And instead of using the big kind of like outdoor paintbrush for like the exterior of a house, how can you use the fine tip pen? How can you use it and chunk it down into just one sentence and another sentence? Kat Roby, now it's shortcut. She's done it. Check. Laundry. Check. Some mail processing and tax. And still lots of big energy from yesterday. Yes, that may take a while, but you're doing good stuff. The more that you recede into the past, distance yourself from what happened there, make it small, turn it black and white, pretend it's an old movie, turn down the volume on it so you might be able to see the people going, but you can't hear them. It takes effort, but you are worth the effort to distance yourself from the unpleasant stuff that you have no control over because it's already in the past, but you don't need to let it affect you today. I know, and this is a wonderful thing I just want to share with you. I know I'm about to sign off. As I tell that story, I am reminded of something that happened in the past 2 months. Now, I'm not being intentionally vague. I seriously don't remember what the specifics were, but there was something that my body and my brain is like, oh, it's kind of like that time when I kept on reliving something that was making me feel uncomfortable. Now, the great thing is even right now, I do not care to conjure up those specifics. The wonderful thing, though, I will share with you is that I think it's great I can't remember it because it served me no purpose. And it shows that what I did worked, which was to distance myself from it. It was back then, way back then, back in the day. It was black and white. It was crinkly like an old video. It was, slowed down. It was sped up. It was cartoony. I turned down the volume so I can't even hear it. And that helps me feel better. So that now I talk to you on Monday, April 28th, and I have no idea what it was, but I know it was something. So this system works. Yeah. Now, Randites is saying, are you going on TikTok live today? No, I don't think I am. I don't think I am. Because I do have some TikToks scheduled, but I am trying to pretty much reverse train people to not expect me on TikTok, but to expect me on YouTube. So that's what I'm doing. You know, it may be to my detriment, but what I would suggest, Randites, is if you would like to hear from me later today, there are almost 700 videos on the YouTube channel that you can pop in the background. You know? Yes, and I love it. LO, decluttering the bad energy. 100%. 100%. It's like cleaning out the cat box. Okay. Check the secret page. You're going to find all sorts of good stuff there. I put the dates of the May declutter parties. Tickets are not available yet because they won't be on sale until May. Okay. I am not going to go on TikTok today because I got stuff I want to do in Palm Springs. Okay. You will know when I'm going to show up on TikTok because I've added some TikToks to the schedule for when I get home. Now, I am going to have 2 days where I'm going to be pretty much off the digital grid because I'm going to be traveling tomorrow. Getting from the West Coast to the East Coast is always a time suck. And then Wednesday, I hit the ground running. I have a lot of clients. My Tuesday roster is full. I believe I have a YouTube live scheduled. Pretty sure I do. Check the secret page. Okay. And then as a heads up, I am going traveling again next week. I am. So you're catching me at a busy season in my life because opportunities are coming into my life and I am practicing saying yes to them to lead by example so you can do the same. Okay. I love it. I love it. I will enjoy the rest of my day in Palm Springs. Laura, I'm glad you enjoyed ping pong tidying, puttering and decluttering. Yes. And yes, exactly. Enjoy Palm Springs before it gets hella hot. Yes, today, this is what I'm hoping for. First of all, I know it's supposed to be warmer than it was. I'm just checking the thing here. Yay. Today is definitely going to be about 10 degrees warmer than yesterday. Tomorrow is going to be even better. I say better because it says 85. I love 85. But yes, I'm going to make the best of my time here, savor it, and plant seeds for the next time. Okay. I love it. Wendy says, I've been loving having you in my time zone. Yeah. Starting next week, I'm going to be a little bit more on the early bird side. But you know what? This is what we do. This is how we do it. Right. So remember, the words in your head, you can erase, you can rewrite the story in your head. Start today. I have been doing it and it's been wicked fun. So come along with me. All right. I will see you guys when I'm back in Pennsylvania. And you got this. You can do it. Bye.